Hi, everybody, and welcome to Monday's devotions. Hope the week's going to be good for you. We get into stressful situations sometimes, and we can all think of situations that have been highly stressful. 2 years ago, you can say almost exactly 2 years ago, I wrote off my lovely red Hyundai Getz. I love that little car. I was riding down the N3 with a friend of mine, who's a very large guy, and the car in front of me was going slowly. So I thought I better just put on my brakes. I was in the slow lane. He was going very slowly, but the brakes didn't work. So I put my foot on the brakes again, and they still didn't. Then I put them on again, and the brakes still didn't work. And then I thought, what should I do? So I pulled up the handbrake, which was the stupidest thing that I could have possibly done. And the car swung to and fro, eventually crashed into the barrier on the left, and the car flipped over onto its side. And there my friend and I were stuck in the car. Fortunately, I could get the window down. I climbed up. We couldn't get my friend out. He was a large guy. But incredibly, the car had stopped. And there were 5 young guys that got out of a car. And they pulled my friend out. And they said to us, do you want us to put the car back on its wheels? I said, yes, please. And they pushed the car over, got it back on its wheels. I was out of the way of any danger. And then I looked and they were gone, almost like angels that arrived on call. But what a wonderful thing it was to have the burden lifted, something that I would never have been able to cope with myself. They came and they did it. And I was so grateful to whoever they were for helping me. There's a verse at the end of Matthew chapter 11, which we know well. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and gentle of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Jesus wants to carry our burdens. Jesus wants the stress to be lifted. It's incredible how Jesus was always concerned that his followers should be at peace and that they should be at rest within their souls. Stress ruins health. There are all kinds of things that cause stress. There's just too much to do. We can't cope, and it overwhelms us. Sometimes there's a feeling of guilt and failure because we've made such terrible mistakes, and we walk around with a feeling of just being no good, and that causes stress. Sometimes there's breakdown in close relationships, and we cope with the stress of trying to get things right. Sometimes trauma in life, disease, accident, those sorts of things that put huge stress upon us. But when Jesus came into the situations of his disciples' lives, he often said, peace be with you. Cheer up, I'm here. He said in this verse that we read just now, he said, come to me. That's number one. Come to me. Bring it all to me. Bring it on. Bring these things to me. And I will give you rest. Let me take that from you. Take my yoke. When there's oxen are pulling a cart, you've got 2 oxen, 1 yoke. And Jesus uses this picture. And he's like the oxen that carries the main weight. And we simply slip our head onto the other side and we allow him to carry the burden. On the cross, Jesus carried the burden of our sin and all that would keep us from God. He took it away from us. He said, I am gentle. I am humble of heart. Jesus is not heavy in his approach to us. He's not demanding, just watching for us to do something wrong. He's wanting us to just take it easy and truly trust him. And he said 2 things about himself and also about how we should relate. He says, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. We are greatly loved, hugely loved, more than we can ever imagine. We are precious to God. And secondly, he said something interesting. He said, the Son, that's himself, does only what he sees the Father doing. In other words, in his own life, he waited for his Father to show him what to do. He didn't carry the whole thing himself. He waited. And when we face complex times in our lives with so many issues. Our lives sometimes feel like broken glass, shattered. Stop. What is the Father saying? What is Jesus? Even in Gethsemane, he said, not my will, but yours. Take the cup from me. And in that agonizing situation, he still rested in his Father's care. So when we're faced with stress, when we feel that life is overwhelming us, say, Lord, I commit it all to you. Just show me what you want me to do. And he will speak, he will guide through his word in the scriptures, through his voice in your heart, through the advice of other people, all sorts of ways. He will make the way for you. Come to him and rest. May you know God's peace and your burdens lifted in the days ahead. God go with you.